Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and this is day 12 of Junk Journal gift ideas that Rachel Reed and I are putting together. So this is the last installment that we're putting together. And here's what I have. I have a package from 7 Gypsies that is called a junk pack that is filled with bright and beautiful different piece and colors, and then I've added a couple other things. So let me just get started here. The pieces that come in here are random. One kit will be different from the next, but it was kind of neat because they're 6-inch square pieces of, in this particular case, this was scrapbook weight paper, and then there is some 6x6-inch cardstock printed papers. There are some pieces of fabric and canvas, and there was some lace bits. There's another piece of really bright colored canvas. So I'm going to kind of get this all situated here and show you what I'm going to do. Prior to the video, I cut a piece of watercolor paper that I have had in my stash now for a little while, and it is 6.5 inches tall by 9 inches long. I chose to do it this size because I just like the size of the journal when it's done, and I was trying to accommodate working with the height of the 6-inch paper. So that's my cover, and knowing that's my cover, the next thing that I did was looked at this paper to figure out how I wanted to put it together and do something with it. What I found was if I butt the two pieces together, and even though this is a lighter weight and this is a heavier weight, it's okay. I just wanted something to put together so I can make the page a little bit longer. And I just picked up some washi tape. You can splice it together by using a piece of paper and glue. You can sew it together on a sewing machine. I was trying to make a video that didn't require a sewing machine so that others can see how easy it is to do this type of thing. So I'm just grabbing hold of this washi tape, and what I found is if I put my finger here and then pull the tape away from the paper and not drag it up, it won't rip. If you try to just pick it up and tape, it can rip the paper. So I've got that part taped, and the next thing I did was just taking a pair of scissors and trimmed off that excess. Now this is too long to use as it is in my new journal that I'm making, so I need to make some adjustments to it. And what I found is if I go to my paper cutter and I go to approximately 8, I believe it was 8 1/4. So I went down to 8 1/4, and I'm just using my paper cutter as a scoring device. You can use a ruler if you have a scoreboard, you can use that. And I'm scoring this at the 8 1/4, and it doesn't really matter which side. I just did it on the cardstock side because that's where I want to make my pocket. And then I flip this around, and 1 inch from the edge, I scored again. So now I have this piece that I have scored in 2 places, and what I found is if I will fold this over and then fold this piece down and then take the whole thing and fold it in half, I'm now making a page that can go in my junk journal that will have a pocket right here. So the next thing I need to do is smooth this out really well. So I'm using my bone folder to really crease this paper to help it lay flat. And then I'm going to use my Aleene's tacky glue to glue this in place. So I'm putting just a small bead of glue on this little flap to help hold it down. And then on the inside, I'm going to put a small bead of glue to help hold it down. And then I'm closing this up, And because I'm using wet glue, you can use tape. I just like to use wet glue. It's least expensive. I just put a giant paper clip on here for just a moment, and that will help this to adhere. And I'll just set it aside a moment. In the kit were these little square pieces of paper. There's different colors that are available. I'm going to do this green one. And what I found was they might be about 4 inches square. You may need to trim it to make it perfectly 4 inches square. That's part of it being junk. And you don't have to be precise if you don't want to. I just wanted it to be a nice equal triangle. So I took this and folded it at a diagonal from corner to corner. And I could see that that could make a pocket that you could put things in, and then if you flip this up, you'll be able to write on this part. So looking at my junk journal page that I made here, I'm flipping it over to the back side, and I'm going to adhere this little corner pocket on this side, and that'll give me a place to tuck things. And I'm trying to keep this really quick and simple, so I'm not going in and adding distressing. I think there's just enough bright, pretty colors in this that I don't have to spend a whole lot of time distressing the little elements. So now I want a pocket to go in here. Excuse me, now I want a journaling card to go in here. So I'm going to take a piece of this cardstock here, and I'm going to cut it down. I've decided that I want it to be approximately 5 inches. Let me get where you can see the camera, or this paper in the camera shot. And then I want to cut it by 3.5. And that'll make a nice size journaling card. And then I'll also use this little piece as well. So I cut earlier a piece of notebook paper. So it's just standard notebook paper that is 3-hole punch. And I happen to trim some of it, and this is a leftover piece. And I'm going to lay this right on top of this really bright colored side, which may be kind of hard to write on, but if you use the lined paper, you can then write on it. And then I had some washi tape here, and all I did was tear the washi tape after I got it to the width of my little paper on the top and the bottom. And that way, if whoever gets this little journal, they can take it off, they can add more. So that was one little journaling card that I made. And then I took the scrap left over, and I just took a quarter rounder and rounded the corners. And now I have another little journal card. So this little journal card can go right here in this diagonal pocket. I'm going to turn it around so we have a contrast of color. We have a place that we can write here. They can add a photo over here. I don't have enough. I didn't let this dry long enough. There we go. And then this journal card can fit in this little pocket. So there is a page, and I've made another one. So here's another page that I've made. I used a different one of the pieces here. So you can see how that flips up and this flips up. And then here is the journaling card. And then inside here I've made another pocket and another journaling card. So it doesn't take very long once you kind of figure out a plan for what you want to do. And what I'm going to do next is I've got a couple of other pieces of paper that I want to trim down to become pages. So I have some map paper here that is from an old street atlas. And I'm just going to trim this to be a 6-inch tall piece. And when I fold this in half, that will be a page in my little journal. So I have the piece that I decorated here, and this is the one I did prior to the video. So I want it to be first, and then I've got a page out of the map, and I've got some notebook paper. And then I have some pretty marbled stationery paper that was a little shorter, but it was already pre-cut that I found in my stash. And let's see, I want to put another piece of notebook paper in here. And I think I want to put this over here. So I'm just kind of playing around with how I want this all lined up. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages. And then if you take that times 4, that is 14, 14 is 28. So you'll have 28 pages that you can work on inside this journal. So I'm going to set this aside for a moment. And I want to work on what I'm going to do to the cover. I've got a few things that I've laid out here that I think I want to use. There was this little piece that had words in it. I'm going to cut some of these words apart. So I trimmed a piece of this map to kind of fit on the cover here. And then I found a piece of this purple that was in this stash pack or junk pack. And I found this yellow, but I think I may like the orange on here. Let me see. No, maybe the yellow. I think I like the yellow. I'm going to take this yellow and cut it into a rectangle or cut it in half, and then I'll make a border, if you will, for the next component. And I'm going to take this little scrap, and that will be a border for that. And I think that's all I want to really do. I may change my mind about the map. I've got a smaller piece here. Maybe that's what I'll do. So I'm just offsetting these just a little bit so we have a little bit of interest and texture on here. And I'm going to use Aleene's Tacky Glue and adhere all of these down. So I'm just choosing to add these layers. Maybe a little wonky. Some people don't like wonky, but you know, I think it's kind of fun. It gives it a different look to it. Decided I needed another layer, so I took a piece of this gray dot and I'm going to frame it. I think we're getting there. I think we're at the point that the cover will be done in just a moment. So there's the cover of the journal, and then here are the pages that we're going to put inside. And what I have found that if I will go ahead and make sure that I have all my pages pretty much lined up to the center. And I'm okay with the edges being different. It's junk in the concept that I'm just taking random pieces and putting together. I'm going to put this in the center of the cover as best as I can. I'm going to use some giant paper clips. You could use binder clips, whatever it is that you can hold it in place while you punch holes and sew the book together, the journal together. Now I've made a little template here, and the idea is that I make it approximately the height of the journal. In this case, it's the height of my pages. There are 3 holes in it, and it may be hard to see this one hole. Let me see if I can get a Sharpie so I can show you. So I've just made 3 little holes so I can mark those as a place to punch in my journal. I've got a Tim Holtz craft pick tool. I'm going to lay this in the center. And I have some fun foam here just so I can show you. You can use an old phone book, you can roll up a towel, and the idea is we just want to punch these 3 holes. 1, 2, and 3. So those have now been punched all the way through. Close this up, put it away. I've got a bookbinder's needle. I'm going to do a pamphlet stitch. So I've got some wax linen thread, and I will cut approximately 3 lengths of the journal, so I have plenty of room to work this as I am binding. Now I like to start on the inside of my journals. You may want yours on the outside just so you can have strings hanging. I'm going to go start in the center. It's going to come out to the outside. We're going to go up to the top hole, into the center again, making sure that your tail doesn't pull through. Go back through the center again. You're on the outside. Go to the other hole that hasn't been sewn yet. Back to the inside. I slip under this top thread, and then I like to pull in opposite directions. That will make sure that it's nice and tight on the front and the back, or inside and the outside. And then I tie a square knot, so that's just 1 knot, and here is 2 knots. And then I just cut off the extra. You can leave it a little bit of a tail if you want. Remove the paper clips. And now we have a funky little Explore journal that's a little bit bigger than pocket size. And it has place to write or add photos, journaling cards, flip ups, pages to add more photos and write. Another pocket here. Another flip up with a journaling card. More pages. Another pocket here, the journaling card. And then space back here. So I hope you enjoyed this last installment of the 12 days of Christmas junk journal gift ideas. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Go check out Rachel and all of the videos that she created. The links are in my description box. Check out my Facebook groups. The links are also in the description box. If you aren't following me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, please do so. It's a great way to connect with me. And check the events on my page to see the next workshop that I'll be doing. I'll be doing one in January. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a fabulous day and Merry Christmas. Bye.